welcome in. This is a brand new Friday Scramble. It's March 18th, 2022. I'm Rick Gehman. That right there, Andy Lack. Andy, my friend, you are on the road, but that is not going to stop you from coming on the Scramble.
Yeah, I flew into New York late last night to visit family. I didn't get to watch as much golf yesterday as I normally would, but this is an interesting tournament so far. A couple surprises to me in terms of the way the course is playing. So I'll have to kind of ask your thoughts on that from somebody who actually got to see it and wasn't just tracking the leaderboard on PGAtour.com. But looks like we're in store for a really good weekend, man.
Yeah, we are. We're talking about the course. We'll, of course, talk about the props here very soon because we know they're out there playing right now as they are on these Friday scrambles. We are indeed presented by PrizePicks. The code you're looking for, Rick. There's also a link in the description. You can get logged in, get ready to rock and roll because we've got props coming up. I tweeted one out. Gary Woodland, hole 1, birdie or better. Cash that one. We've already got some winners in the chat, so we're looking forward to that, Andy. But yeah, let's talk about the course, brother. This is 12 under par. Justin Thomas is putting it all together. This is much easier than recent years and kind of what we would have anticipated leading into the week.
Yeah, it seems like, well, Florida, obviously, we know this because of the players. Florida, after what I heard was a very dry January and February, has been getting dumped on over the past couple of weeks. And that's the thing that we talk about every week here, Rick, is it's like firm and fast conditions are what make golf courses difficult. Not necessarily length, not even necessarily like narrow fairways or thick rough. It's when golfers are unable to get their high iron shots like we saw at Bay Hill to stop on these greens. And when the greens are soft and when the greens are receptive, then it's going to be happy hunting season for these guys. And you see guys like Justin Thomas, who's one of the best iron players in the world. When you put Justin in a situation where he can just fire at pins, this is what's going to happen.
Yeah, basically to a man in their post-round pressers, or not even pressers, they were interviews yesterday. It was like, yeah, it's soft out there. The greens are receptive. It's giving us a lot of opportunities, especially on, we talked all week long, those longer par threes they don't play as long when you can just kind of fly it there and get it to stop with some of these long irons that these guys are able to hit. And then Justin Thomas, who has just been putting on a stripe show for basically a day and a half, almost 2 full rounds. And Andy, he made no putts on Thursday. He is making everything on Friday, and he's got himself the lead as we are live right now.
I saw that. I was looking at the round 2 stats, and he is just draining everything right now, which, that's always been the question that we've been talking about with Thomas lately is JT's been playing really well. He's been playing great for like a year. The issue is that he's reached the point in his career, deservingly so, where he gets graded on wins, and he just hasn't been winning. He hasn't won since the Players, but I think he has like 9 top 25 finishes in his last 10 starts. Like, he's been playing great. He just hasn't been winning. Let me ask you this question, Rick, because I'm always thinking about this, and I always think this is interesting. With Rahm kind of struggling a little bit, you've got Cam Smith now in the mix. If JT wins this week, is he the Masters favorite?
Oh, interesting. I think books have been looking for other guys to get down towards the Rahm numbers. And with JT's, remember there was like a 4-year stretch where he got better and better and better at the Masters. Then he kind of coughed it up on one hole, recently here. Probably, right?
Yeah.
I think there's so much reaction in the few weeks before the Masters that if JT wins this, he would at least be co-favorites with Rahm.
I agree. And JT's one of those guys that gets a lot of respect in the betting market. It's like if Brooks wins this week, I don't think that Brooks will be the Masters favorite. But a guy like JT, he's already 14, 15 to 1 to win the Masters. He's probably right behind Rahm to begin with. I guess it matters what happens at the match play next week, which should be interesting because we'll get a lot of the top names. But they'll never let JT slip past 20 ever. He slipped to 20 at the Players and won.
Yeah, that's there. We will unlikely to see that again. I love the match play so much. I can't wait till we start talking about that. But I'm looking at the rest of this leaderboard here, and this is a great leaderboard for guys like us, Andy, because you've got some of the big names in Justin Thomas. You've got our defending champion Sam Burns, currently 1 shot back, and then you also have some of the kind of like fantasy betting darlings out there, right? Like Adam Hadwin is just 2 shots back. Troy Merritt, who I know was like a viable value play this week, he's 4 shots back. This is shaping up to be a fun weekend, but even more fun for guys like us who have like the betting and fantasy side of it.
Yeah, and Webb, right? I mean, what was your biggest surprise so far?
It's probably Webb, right? I mean, I think I said, and I was exchanging text with somebody earlier in the week where it was like, if Webb's healthy, he's 60-1. He's 60-1, and just no one knew if he was healthy. There were so many kind of weird reports from when he had to withdraw. I guess it was Phoenix. Was it Phoenix that he withdrew before? It was weeks ago.
Yeah, he withdrew from Phoenix. Before the Players, he hadn't played until the Sony Open, which is one of Webb's courses, and he looked bad.
Right. So there was a lot of like weird concern, but if Webb is back, this is a great spot for him. He's playing well. I like Webb. I'm happy to see him back in the mix, but that is probably the biggest surprise.
Yeah, and he had the right side of the draw at the Players and looked really bad.
Yeah.
So I would say Webb's probably my biggest surprise. Can't say that I'm super surprised to see Burns up there again. I think this is clearly a really good golf course for him. Something about these, I was looking at all the overseeded Bermuda greens, all of the greens that we have, like Phoenix is like this, PGA West is like this, TPC Sawgrass is like this. Whenever you have this dormant Bermuda kind of overseeded, Burns is like the best putter in the world. He's unbelievable. So not a huge surprise to see Burns up there. My guy Tommy is playing well. I almost picked him for one and done, and Xander's kind of hanging around up there too. I'm very interested to see between Brooks, Hovland, and DJ, who do you think's the most likely to shoot like a 65 of that group?
I am quite bullish on Dustin Johnson, not just because I've
the
one and done, and I've got lots of.
He hit the ball great, Rick.
Phenomenal.
Yeah,
and he lost the stroke with the putter, and he's obviously a really good putter. I think there's untapped ceiling for Dustin Johnson here over the next 3 rounds.
Yeah, I'll talk about him a little bit more in our prize pick segment, but what's been interesting about DJ is, his putter's really been carrying him. But then this week he gained over 3 strokes on approach. So that's another guy, Rick. Like if DJ wins, is he 12-1 at the Masters? Maybe.
Yeah, there's if a name wins between now and the Masters, they are going to be sliced. Would you consider then? Okay, so like if you knew you wanted to bet DJ for the Masters or JT for the Masters, or even like if Rory wins the match play or something like that, should you fire maybe half of what you were wanting to fire now, just in case that number gets slashed, or not worth the squeeze?
I think you're playing a bit of a guessing game. I think one thing that people really underestimate is that it may not be the guy that you want, but I'm telling you right now, by Tuesday or Wednesday of Masters Week, there is going to be a very elite player at a number that you never thought that you would see him at. Because right now they put these odds out for the early birds, for the guys that can't help themselves and can't contain themselves. And yes, if Dustin Johnson wins this week and you think Dustin Johnson is going to win the Masters, you should bet him now, I guess, because his odds will be lower. But never underestimate the fact, Rick, that they have to drop somebody once they start taking action, once the odds mature. And we started to see it at the Players where guys really started to slide into. Xander closed at like 33-1 to win the Players at some spots, right? So never underestimate how one of these elite players are going to slide. It's just, you're not sure who it's necessarily going to be, but I kind of like waiting, Rick. What about you?
Either waiting or just bet that guy to win now. Right. So at least you get that side of it, right? If you're really worried about getting sliced, just go ahead and bet them to win like whatever start it is beforehand.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's the thing is it's like if DJ's your guy, but also that's what's so tricky because DJ could shoot even par today and finish T44. And then maybe Rom wins the match play and then DJ gets out in the group stage and then DJ's 24-1. That's what I always worry about.
Yeah, and it's certainly possible. We're going to keep an eye on it, but we are going to quickly we're going to hit the props here because we got guys out on the golf course. We want to give you as much time to get these in as you can. So again, Rick is the code. Make sure you're logged in. Make sure you're ready to fire these up because we've got revenge on our minds. We'll talk about that on the other side. Andy Lack is not only the co-host of The Scramble, but also produces his own show, the Inside Golf Podcast. It's available twice a week, focusing on course breakdowns, DFS, and betting strategies for every PGA Tour event. Admittedly, I was drawn to Andy for his data-driven approach, which you'll find on his Sunday shows as he breaks down the field. But I'm even more impressed by his passion for course architecture, which offers a different perspective of our great game. Mix those together with insightful and humorous guests who don't take themselves too seriously, and you've got a recipe for a great podcast. Follow Inside Golf Pod on Twitter and download Inside Golf wherever you download podcasts. All right, Andy, let's prop it like it's hot. This is your PrizePicks props segment here. We were 2-2 in round one. I tweeted this out. Felt like 0-4 with the run that we've been on. When we go 2-2, it was like, oh man, that stinks. But we are still in the midst of a 25-4 run.
Yeah, just a bit of a heat check there. It was my fault, right? I had Keegan. Keegan didn't get there.
We both lost one. We both
went 1-1.
Our greens in regulation prop, which honestly, that is not to make excuses, but these very soft greens changed that big time. And maybe we should have been more aware.
Yeah. Okay. Well, all right. That I thought for some reason I went 0-2, but then I realized my other one was Norin, right? And Norin got it done for us. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, yeah, we'll rebound this week. I noticed, Rick, did you see, because I saw you tweeting out yesterday, hole one props. So I was going this morning to do hole one stuff and they took it away.
It was available. It was available until recent. So there's been a lot of changes on the PGA board, even in the last hour. So even the numbers that we have in the outline, I'm hoping they're still there. I can pull up the website here in a second, but yeah. So hole one, they got smashed on this morning. So I don't see any more hole one stuff. It's just, I think it's just, you've really got to be quick with these, or be decisive with these. The edge that we're getting, waiting historically, that's been awesome. I'm not sure we're going to have as much of that time in the future, which is smart because we're absolutely smoking these guys.
So so they just, if they get really worried about something, they just take it away. Why not just move the line so crazy in the other direction to get action on the other side? That's interesting
too, but like the single hole stuff, you can't really move the number off of 4.5.
Yeah,
right? Because if you move it to 4, you're not getting the action, and you're going to push so many of it. You move it to 5, you're not going to get any action, or you're going to put. It's just like they can't move the single hole lines, is my opinion. I've not talked to them about this, but my opinion is they can't move them off of 4.5. So their only option is to choose different golfers, worse golfers, essentially, to kind of make those lines a little bit closer to 50-50 or remove them. So I get it. I think we just got to be quick.
Okay. That's a really good point about the single hole props. Their hands are kind of tied with the line movement. Are the bets going to be honored though? Are your whole line?
Everything's honored for sure.
Okay.
Like, if you get it in, it's honored. I catched a Woodland one early. Like, no, it's all being honored. It's just they might remove it or opt to not offer as many players or different players.
Yeah, I saw that Woodland one and I was that's what I wanted. That. Yeah, I wanted that badly. I wanted that whole one because I was digging into the par fives. I'll start us off with hole 11. So 11's another par 5. Rick, and I went Dustin Johnson, who we've already talked about a little bit today, under 4.5 strokes, hole 11. So as I already mentioned, DJ was 5th in approach in round 1. He gained over 3.1 strokes on approach. He's 106th in putting, right? And I looked at how DJ played hole 11 in round 1. He made like a really bad par. I mean, he played that hole about as poorly as he could, and he still missed a 7-footer for birdie. I just think the way that DJ is hitting it right now, he's going to have tons of opportunities and just absolutely dominate these par 5s. So I feel pretty comfortable rolling with DJ under 4.5 on hole 11.
Yeah, I love this. Those single hole ones are volatile in nature, but there are like even the Gary Woodland one that I tweeted out. Like the guy's played it under 13 out of the 17 times he's seen it. Like there are just like really good setups for these guys. So we're going DJ under 4.5 strokes on hole 11. Speaking of not getting a lot out of their round, I'm going to go with Bubba Watson. I'm going right back to the well. Bubba Watson under 71. I watched every single shot he hit en route to a 68 on Thursday, and he got nothing out of that round. Andy, I think there's a lot of wiggle room there. He lost strokes on approach, which outside of the kind of the really nasty conditions or whatever happened at the Players Championship, he's been really good on approach. And I'm not even sure, like, okay, if this gets up to 10 or 15 mile an hour winds, that might help Bubba. Bubba likes something, right? He likes something to hold his ball up against. He loves the tree line stuff, right? Because he can work his ball off of the visuals. I think this is a really good Bubba setup.
Yeah, and he's been great here, and I agree with that too. I think the course playing softer and being more of a JT Target golf course hurts Bubba a little bit. I think Bubba is a little bit better on when it's a little bit firmer, like a Riviera, type place where you have to have that element of creativity and it's not just target golf fire at the pins. And the forecast, I mean, it's still supposed to be windy this afternoon. I mean, I'm hesitant to say that it's going to play hard based on the scores that we've already seen, but I'm pretty confident feeling that it will be harder with more wind. So I love that play on Bubba.
The chat already letting me know that it's down to 70, which I'll tell you what, I'll go bet it again with you. If we lose, we lose together. I'll put it in at 70. And then Andy, you and I have gone with the same golfer here, but 2 different props. So we're gonna have to talk about strategy in just 1 second. But it's Abraham Answer. Which prop would you like for Abe?
Okay, so I'm with you on I'm doing the same thing with looking at golfers that I feel like played a lot better than their score would suggest. And Answer, I have him at under 70, right? So he gained 2 strokes ball striking in round 1, lost 2 around the green. He actually was fine putting. I mean, not great, but he could not chip at all. And to me, I feel like that's probably a bit of an anomaly with him. And 70, I wanted 70.5, Rick. I'll be honest with you. I wanted 70.5. I thought I'd maybe be able to get 70 or 71. But, he did not play well here at all yesterday. Like he got nothing out of that round and he shot 70. So I feel pretty comfortable with the premise that Answer, who's historically a very good putter, has never finished worse than 16th on this course in 2 appearances, can hopefully turn the putter around and shoot a 69, which is only 2 under.
It's only 2 under. I'm with you on this, and I'm looking at PrizePicks right now. He is still at 70, so that's still live right now. I'm with you here because I'm pro Abe Answer. So I have in the outline Abe Answer over 3.5. It is now 4. I'm still going to roll with it because we've got, which is crazy because 45 minutes ago it was 3.5, but we're at 4 right now. And I'm with you, dude. I mean, this is a guy who made 3 birdies in round 1. He only took advantage of 1 par 5. He only had 1 par 5 birdie. He was horrendous around the green. He didn't really putt all that well. I just think that was, it's not a floor round for Abe Answer, but it's certainly closer to his floor than his ceiling. So I think there's a lot of birdies to be made out there. And we are both with an over and an under, both on a pretty good round from Abe Answer here.
Do you think the fact that some of these afternoon guys that were 1 or 2 or 3 or even 4 under par, do you think the fact that now teeing off and seeing JT at 12 under is going to affect their mindset or their strategy for the day? Like, I can't imagine someone yesterday, Rick, when I got on the plane and I saw some of my golfers at 1 under par, I was like, all right, we're in business here. And then when I got off the plane, they were T69, right? So do you think the fact that some of these guys that maybe thought they shot a decent round yesterday, waking up to JT at 12 under par, do you think that changes their strategy at all or frees them up or anything like that?
I think it it provides them an opportunity to be freed up. The guys who want to take the opportunity to just go out there and fire at pins, they now have an excuse. And the other guys who are like, well, I'll worry about that tomorrow. Let me get through the cut. Let me position myself. There's still a lot of golf left. I think it's kind of a grab bag. If you want to look at Justin Thomas as the pace setter, as the pace car, and you want to try to track him down, that option is available to you. So I do think we'll see some guys who will take on a higher risk, higher reward approach.
Yeah. And the issue is like, we talk about what's the real lead sometimes. And it's like, well, JT's the real lead. Like this isn't, it's not Scott Stallings, who's right there too. But if it was just Scott Stallings doing this and Scott Stallings was 12, 13 under par, you can make an argument. Okay, the real lead is wherever Burns is at or wherever Webb's at. But when the best player in the field or a top 3 player in the field goes out and does that, I think that has to change the way that you look at and process the entire leaderboard. I'm interested to see, usually as the week goes on, Rick, coursers do tend to firm up a little bit just based on the foot traffic that they get, especially if, the superintendent decides not to water it as well. So I'm curious to see how this plays kind of over the weekend.
Yeah, so am I. Justin Thomas, as we are live right now, is pulling his putter head back on a 12-footer for bogey. And oh my God, he ran it 4 feet by. So he's going to drop at least 2 here to 10.
Oh, wow.
And he's got 3.5 or 4 feet left for double. So we'll keep a close eye on that. But just to recap, and these are the adjusted numbers. Abe Answer under 70. Abe Answer over 4 birdies. Dustin Johnson under 4.5 strokes for hole 11. And Bubba Watson under 70. That's our official Scramble card for right now. And Andy, notice that there's 2 Abraham Answers on there. So sometimes you'll get that notification from PrizePicks that, hey, you can't put 2 guys in the same entry, which I think is a really good time to talk about strategy here. So usually the way that I do this when we have our 4 picks is I'll obviously put one in as a power play, but then I'll split these up to, okay, these 2 with another prop that we don't even talk about that I might like, or these 3 with another prop, or this one with another. I kind of build like a little bit of a core and rotate them through so that even on a day you go 3 and 1, there's still a lot of winners there just because you didn't win them all.
Yeah, that's what I like the best about PrizePicks is you can be, I play PrizePicks very aggressively because I firmly believe that this is the strongest edge that I have in any market right now. A stronger edge that I have in DraftKings, a stronger edge than I have in the regular betting market. So I'm going to play aggressively, but you don't have to do that, right? Like, I still think even if PrizePicks lines gets a little sharper, which I would imagine at some point they do over the course of the next couple of months, like you can still put yourself in a situation where you're not so reliant on kind of that parlay aspect, right? And I've kind of fiddled around with both. So that's probably my favorite thing about the site is you can basically pick varying degrees of how aggressive that you want to be.
Yes. And the other thing, so there are a lot of new people getting into PrizePicks right now. So I'm getting a lot of questions. The common question is that people don't realize, Andy, that they can go even cross category, right? So if you have one guy for strokes, you don't have to have another guy for strokes. You can have somebody for birdies or fairways or cross sport. You can literally find any edge that you want. You are not tied to just that category, which is a question I get a lot.
How's your bracket doing, by the way? Do they have March Madness?
My bracket is I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of brackets that have been busted when a 15 beats a 2, and depending on how far you have Kentucky going. But I have only one direction to go from here, Andy, and it's up, because I am at the bottom, my friend. Yes, they do have props for NCAA basketball.
Yeah. I used to get so into March Madness, Rick, and then the fact that we had this Monday players finish, and I had 2 days to do all of the stuff that I usually do in 3 days in terms of all of my articles and podcasts and stuff for the Valspar. I didn't really have the time to research it the way that I wanted to, but I got to watch a lot of it when I got home last night, and like, there's nothing better than waking up and you just have games on from 9 a.m. to midnight. It's the best.
Yeah, Eli knows. He says, I've been taking the CBB college basketball promos with golf plays. That's right. They're also doing, I think they're calling it Prop Madness, some promos that are out there as well. So the code you're looking for is Rick. It is a 100% instant deposit match up to $100. The link is in the description. Join us on this foray into winning as much money as possible. Okay, Andy, I want to talk a little bit about the live odds that have just flipped because Justin Thomas made a double. I want to talk about our one and done. I want to have a little bit of fun, but we're going to do that after a quick break. If you're not playing daily fantasy on PrizePicks, then you're not really playing daily fantasy. They offer nothing but props, and they do it better than anyone else. You pick 2 to 5 players on an over-under and can win up to 10 times on any entry. They allow mixed sport entries, meaning you can take the over on LeBron James and the under on Jon Rahm. The golf-specific props are amazing. Birdies or better, fairways hit, greens in regulation, round score, and now, yes, single hole props. That's right. What score will a golfer make on a specific hole? I have PrizePicks specific tools on my website to help you build the best entries, and now PrizePicks is offering a 100% instant deposit match up to $100. Just use the code RICK at sign up or click the link in the description. That's code RICK. Good luck. Okay, Andy, 5 minutes ago, Justin Thomas was about even money to win the Valspar Championship, a double bogey at number 7, and now he is 3-1, and he is currently 1 shot off the lead held by Scott Stallings and Adam Hadwin. Very little respect from Caesars on Scott Stallings. He's 16-1. Adam Hadwin, a lot more respect, 5.5-1, which is also the same odds as Sam Burns, who is 1 shot off the lead, that 5.5-1 number. So we can talk through this live leaderboard, or the live odds a little bit here, but is there a case to be made to waiting, betting now? What do you think about these odds?
I do think that the afternoon will play a little bit harder. Again, I'm hesitant to say how much harder, because this course has really surprised me with how easy it's played. But I think, like, what's Fleetwood at?
He is currently T6, which is 8 under, which is 3 off the lead.
Odds wise.
Oh, my apologies. He is 25-1.
Yeah. I mean, I bet him at 66-1 pre-tournament. So, but I like the position that some of these guys, like, I like the position that Webb and Burns and Hadwin, for that matter, and Fleetwood are in, right? Because I do think that it's going to play a little bit harder as the afternoon goes on. And say even Brooks or DJ shoots 4 under, which is a good round, they're still going to just be at the point that Burns and Webb and Fleetwood are in. And you're taking a little bit of a chance there. I don't know if we're going to see, like, do you think we're going to see like a 64 from somebody in the afternoon?
Good question. Probably not, because we're not really seeing, I mean, we're not even seeing that now. That would be the round of the tie the round of the week. I would guess no, we don't see a 64. I think the wave that's out there right now, I think the winner probably comes from that wave.
And I guess you could make an argument that this is probably, if you're really high on JT, this is probably the best time to bet JT coming off a double bogey now.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, because he might be in the lead Again, what did Hadwin just? Oh, I had this sorted weird. I thought Hadwin just made a quad. He did not. He did not. I had it sorted by round. Yeah, he might be still in the lead by the time this round's over, or close enough to it, and he's still the biggest dog. You should definitely. I mean, you got basically more than twice the odds because of one double bogey that he made. It's the worst hole he's played all week. That's like the best buy low spot.
What's Xander at?
Yeah, he is at 33-1.
That's not bad, because Xander he's got a 12-footer for birdie on 6. And then 7 is a birdie hole. 8 is really hard. And 9 is okay. So if Xander, he's got a 12, he's at 6. Yeah, Xander's not bad at 33-1. Because this may be silly, but I always I don't love betting guys live at like way worse numbers than you could have gotten them pre-tournament.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So Xander now at 33 with a birdie putt to get to 7, and another birdie hole coming in. It's not bad.
Yeah, if he gets within 3 of the lead with 36 to go, let's go, fire it up, see what happens. Okay, real quick on our one and done selections for this week. So we've got DJ for myself. That's 4 under. We've talked about that. Played well. Stripe Show has not teed off yet. You're with Victor Hovland, who is 2 under par and will also tee off this afternoon. I feel like I've been, for the last couple weeks on the Friday Scramble, I've liked my position. It has not always shook out well for me, but I'm at least running out front for now.
Yeah, I started to have we did the Scramble so early on Tuesday morning when the players kind of finished, obviously, on Monday night. So I didn't have that extra day in between to kind of synthesize and process my thoughts. I worried that I burned Victor too early. I mean, I think about he lost over a stroke around the green again on Thursday, didn't he? But I don't know. He's been playing a lot of golf. I still think that he has a very good round in him. And what we talked about with Victor is, his floor is so inherently high right now that he can finish top 10 in tournaments, losing 4, 5, 6 strokes putting and around the green. If I get like a T27 out of Victor, I'm not happy, because I think there's a chance he wins 2 or 3 more times this year.
Yeah. It'll be interesting. I like that we've got guys from kind of the same wave and they're going to be playing at the same time. Not that I expect a huge wave differential this week, but I don't know. I just like that. Okay. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to have some quick fun and games. We've got to talk about, I guess, the not fun part, the Saudi stuff, but then we're also going to put together a Frankenstein golfer. But first, we're going to take about 45 seconds, and we'll see you on the other side. All of the tools and data that you see me use on this channel is from my site, RickRunGood.com. RickRunGood.com is one of the largest golf databases on the planet, and it's geared towards making your DFS and betting research process as efficient as possible. There are literally millions of data points in the database, and while that might sound intimidating, the tools that I've built allow you to cut through the data quickly, choose what's important to use, and even build lineups that are ready for import directly into DraftKings. Outside of that, membership gets you access to the Slack channel, currently 2,000 run gooders who are ready to share insights and have a little fun. I love it, and you will too. Sign up at RickRunGood.com. All right, Andy, I think we can be pretty quick here. The guys are out on the golf course. I want to go watch it. There's college basketball on. I know others want to go watch it. You're in New York. I'm leaving for California. I think we could be pretty quick here, but the Saudis, which are now going by LIV Golf Invitational, has announced 8 events for their 2022 schedule. They are starting in June. They are rolling through October. They are putting up massive prize purses for every single one of these, and we still have 0 player commitments. Do we care?
I don't care until I see a player. Did you hear, which we still haven't gotten. Did you hear by any chance, I listened to this on the plane, did you hear Greg Norman's interview that he did, I think, with Golf Subpar?
I heard snippets of it. I did not listen to the whole thing.
Yeah. You'll enjoy it. I think it's worth listening to, but it's he's making a lot of empty promises. He keeps talking about, I have, all these guys that are talking to me that want to do this. And I'm just waiting until we hear a name, Rick. That's kind of where I stand on this. After the Phil thing happened, I never thought that it was dead, right? It's just too much money for us to call it dead. But until we get an actual player that commits to this, it doesn't really mean anything to me. I mean, the golf courses. Did you see all the golf courses that they chose?
Yes. Centuron, Pumpkin Ridge, Trump National, the International, Rich Harvest Farm, Stonehill Golf Club, Royal Greens Golf Club, and a TBD team championship.
Yeah. They're just like flashy, substanceless golf courses that I don't find to be super, super interesting by any means. But, I'm just going to wait to see a player say something, right? Like in that interview, Rick, Norman kept saying, like, he kept calling it a startup. Like, this is a startup. This is a startup. This is a startup. Right. And it's like, all right, like, let's see what happens. It's a lot of money. It is a lot of money. And I think we can never underestimate that. But I think, to a very roundabout way of answering your question, Rick, I will start caring once I hear the names that are going to do this.
I'm caring less and less and less. I know. Listen, okay, so I think there's a real thing. You're dead on about the money. That's obviously the driving factor, because we just had the largest purse in golf history, $20 million at the Players Championship. And for these 8 events, the purse for each one is $25 million. So you're going to get guys that go and take this money. And from my understanding, that is guaranteed to be paid out. So if they only get like 25 guys for one of these, they're going to play. The winner's going to get like $6 million or something outrageous. But I don't care. I'm caring less and less. The other thing is, and I floated this idea on the first cut. I believe they will play these 8 events and we will probably not hear about this again. I think they have to do these because they said they were going to do it and they had all this momentum, and then Phil spiked the whole thing. So they've got to run these 8 events. But if they run these 8 events and their best player is whoever you want to call it, who doesn't move the needle, and they give out a lot of money and everyone still looks at them as the murderous regime of Saudi Arabia, are they going to pump another $200 or $300 million into it next year? Especially when there's a million questions of who's going to put it on television? What are the sponsors going to do? Like, if it really is a bottomless pit and they're willing to put $1 billion into this, we'll see them next year. But I don't know, man. This has just lost all of its momentum, and I don't know how they run this back.
That was the question that Norman couldn't really answer when they asked him, how do you categorize this as a success, right? If in 5 years from now, top 10 players aren't doing this, is that a success? And he was like, well, time will tell. We'll see. But I can't imagine. I mean, if Jason Kokrak is your headliner, I don't see how anyone cares. And I don't see what TV network says. I mean, I shouldn't say that because the money is so big too with what they're probably offering them. But having the best players matters, right? Like I'm telling you right now, I would rather watch Rory McIlroy and Jon Rahm and Justin Thomas compete in a match for $1 than I would watch, Martin Laird and, Jason Kokrak and Adam Hadwin compete for 25 million. Right. So it's just like the money is crazy for the players. Right. But in terms of creating interest, in terms of like, the viewers, the public, the fan, and creating the best product out there, you have to have players that people care about. You have to.
Yeah, for sure. So I imagine if they're starting in June, I guess we're going to find out about players soon. We have to. They've got to start, selling this and marketing this and all that good stuff. So we'll find out. But until then, We'll move on. One thing that I always like to do, Andy, is I'm a big team no putt guy. So when I see a guy who is just striping it like a Keegan Bradley or a Luke List, and then I see what Cam Smith does at the Players Championship, I'm like, man, don't you just wish Cam Smith could just putt for Luke List, or just like that would be the greatest player in the world. So I'm always thinking about this Frankenstein golfer idea. So I've broken this up into the 4 strokes gained categories. You pick one golfer off the tee, one golfer on approach, one golfer around the green, one golfer with the putter. That becomes one Frankenstein golfer, the best golfer that we can make.
Okay, are we collaborating or each making our own?
We can collaborate.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. All right. So off the tee.
Yeah.
Off the tee. My first thought is Bryson. It might be Rahm though.
Okay. The statistical, I think you'd go with Bryson statistically. Do we start to worry about if our Frankenstein is injury prone?
That's a great point. You know, that's the tough thing with Bryson, right? Is that like Bryson, I'm trying not to be too much of a prisoner of the moment with Bryson, and remember the fact that when Bryson is driving the ball well, his driver, I guess you could throw Morikawa's irons in there, it is a bigger weapon than any other player possesses essentially in any other category on the PGA Tour. I mean, like watching what he did to Winged Foot, I still think that was one of the most underrated performances I've seen in golf in the last decade, right? So I'm trying not to be too much of a prisoner of the moment and remember that Bryson's ceiling is the best. That's kind of the other question that we have to ask. Are we looking for ceiling or are we looking for consistency? Because if we're looking for consistency for a player who's off the tee game is going to always be +3 or 4 and always have you in a position where you're in the mix, I think the answer is Rahm. But if we're looking for the highest ceiling on a given week, I think it's still probably Bryson, right?
Yeah, so the candidates are Bryson, Rahm, Rory McIlroy. If you want to throw Victor into the conversation, fine. I'm probably with you on Rahm. So to put this into perspective, last year Bryson gained 1.1 stroke per round off the tee, 1.1. Jon Rahm, much smaller sample size, this season is at 1.3. And he does it in a way that I believe is like he's got all the shot shapes. You know, he's got the windows. You know, Bryson is gaining strokes. He's doing it with distance. I'm not sure he's got all the shots trajectory wise that Jon Rahm does. So if we're talking about one tournament at Winged Foot, maybe it's Bryson. If we're talking about 25 over the course of a season, I think it's Rahm.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, Rahm, I was just looking. He gained like 7 off the tee at the Players and lost 6 on approach. What Rahm has been doing off the tee this season, you're right. It's eclipsed what even Bryson was doing last year. So, okay. So we have to make a decision because I'm sure this is going to come in to play on some of the other categories. Are we looking for one ceiling week or are we looking for this guy is going to have the best ceiling? I mean, the best season.
I think we go to battle for a season. I think we say, you know, because that says, you know, you're going to see a bunch of different types of courses. You're going to see a bunch of different types of conditions. I think the perfect Frankenstein golfer is more well-rounded over the course of a season.
I think you got to go Rahm then.
I think it's Rahm as well. All right. So we've got Jon Rahm hitting our tee shots. We now need an iron player. We need an approach player. Let me throw out a couple of candidates here for you. I'm just looking at the 2022 strokes gained approach numbers. You could do like Russell Henley, who leads the field or leads the tour in strokes gained approach, but probably some sexier names right behind like Will Zalatoris and Victor Hovland. Obviously, Hideki Matsuyama and Colin Morikawa come to mind.
I'm going Morikawa. I feel pretty confident in that. Are you not? Morikawa is like the best iron player since Tiger Woods.
Yes, he has not been as good statistically recently, but there's a couple of outliers in there. I will definitely get to Morikawa. I was just not as positive as you were.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, you know, JT would be number 2 for me. I don't want to be too much of a prisoner of the moment for what JT is doing right at this second and still remember that when Colin is on, Colin has been better than JT over the last year and a half or so.
Yeah.
I think it's Colin. I think when we're talking iron play, you got to give Colin the belt right now.
I love the fact that JT has all the dead hand wedge shots. He's got, I mean, he's just got everything. It's really fascinating to watch. I have that same like 9 windows concept when I think of Justin Thomas on approach that I do when I think of John Rahm off the tee. But I'm with you. If you give me 25 tournaments worth of approach shots, that's a lot of approach shots. And I still agree that it's Colin Morikawa.
I'll give you an underrated guy. You know who'd be in my like top 7 of this is Hoagie. He is a straight flusher. Seriously, he is a straight flusher. And the reason why I think I was really high on him, before Pebble Beach, and I kept saying this guy's not going to go away, is like from 150 yards in, Hoagie's like the best in the world, right? So Hoagie we could do a Frankenstein golfer one time of like jabronis, where it's like we have Taylor Pendrith off the tee. I mean, Hoagie, I don't think is a jabroni anymore, but there's a lot of fun angles we can.
Yeah, there's like the one hit wonders, the guys that are elite in one category and are horrible everywhere else. Like those are the jabronis that we'd be looking for. All right, let's move around the green. The recency bias throws Cam Smith certainly towards the top of this range, but I mean, I need a guy around the greens who can pull off all the shots. You got to be able to go high, you got to be able to go low, you've got to be able to play bunkers well. Like I need this more than probably the other categories. I need someone super, super well-rounded.
Recency bias be damned. It's Cam Smith. I cannot, it has to be, right? It's like I talked about, I try and think about it this way, Rick, in an up and down contest for $10, every player on the PGA Tour. Is Cam Smith's winning that right now? And Reed is up there and Spieth is up there, but it's Cam Smith. Cam Smith has the best short game in the world right now.
So it's funny because when you look at the stats, you see guys like Kevin Na, but around the green gets wonky because Na misses so many greens. So he has more opportunities to pile up around the green. So you got to kind of factor that in as well. The Spieth magic, I love. I love every single shot. If Morikawa ever puts us in trouble, Spieth can extract us from that. But what I like about Smith is the demeanor, right? He's just never in trouble. And he is just going to knock you to a foot. I mean, he's going to put so little pressure on our putter that like it's hard to imagine how this guy, this Frankenstein ever makes worse than birdie.
Yeah, on 18 at the Players when he had 60 yards to get up and down. I didn't even consider the possibility that he would get up and down, which that basically just gives you your answer right there.
And I would have had worries about Spieth in that spot because I would have been like, he is in his brain right now for $3.6 million in a Players Championship from 58 yards or whatever Cam Smith was. He is in his brain. I agree with you. So we are at Rahm hitting our tee shots, Morikawa hitting our approaches. If we ever miss a green, Cam Smith is going to take advantage of us. Now we just need a guy to roll the rock, and we're going to find the best one. But you and I could putt on this team and probably be a pretty good Frankenstein.
Honestly, my first initial thought was Cam again.
I thought about that.
I think we should differentiate, right? But I was trying to think like, okay, an 8-footer to win a tournament. Who do you trust the most right now? And God, it doesn't even ever look like Cam Smith's putts aren't going into the center of the cup or into the side of the cup, right? Everything is dead center.
If we made this like a short game category, it would still be Cam Smith. I agree with you, but yeah, I have a guy in mind, but what you just said about Cam Smith worries me about this guy. So you just said, 10 feet for the win. Who do you trust? Like I think the answer objectively is Louis, but when you talk about who's going to make a 10-footer to win a golf tournament, I feel less confident that it's Louis.
Yeah, Louis had an unbelievable putting season last year. Unbelievable putting season. And it has regressed a little bit this year. Yeah, Louis is interesting. He has a smooth, I'll give you a little bit of a historical answer. The historical answer for me would have been Fowler. Ricky
Oh my,
was such a good putter. And then from 2000, I would say 2018 to 2020, the answer was maybe Fowler. And from 2016 to 2018, the answer was Jason Day.
yeah, those strokes were so pure, and everything they hit went to the bottom of the cup.
Yeah. So right now it's we could make up for our omission of Reed and Spieth's short game by putting one of those guys here.
This is the category where I think you can go most jabroni, right? Like, why,
hey, we can go Denny McCarthy.
Why wouldn't we just pick Denny McCarthy, who's, for 2 years led strokes gained putting, and he's inside, top 15 this time around. That would be probably the right. Like, Scotty Scheffler is a great putter.
Yeah.
Could we this one's actually really hard.
Yeah, DJ's been out of his mind recently too. I think it's yeah, I guess we'll go Denny. I don't know. It's tough because it's again, statistically Denny, but then the way that I was initially conceptualizing it was who do you need to make this putt? Who do you want to make this putt? Who do you want having that on the line for you? And that's why I thought of Cam Smith first.
Yeah. Denny has been inside the top 25 of strokes gained putting 5 consecutive years, and 2 of them he led. So, I mean, he's statistically the guy. Do we trust him in the big spot, or would you want you could go Kisner.
He's never been in a big spot. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, who do you trust to make one? Is it Kisner? Is it Scotty Scheffler? Do we just go Cantlay? Cantlay in a spot like that?
Yeah, Cantlay. And you want to talk about the ceiling thing too. Cantlay had the best putting performance of the last decade, right? At the BMW Championship. He gained 15 strokes putting, right?
Maybe it's Cantlay.
Yeah. Cantlay's good. I'm cool with Cantlay.
Rahm, Morikawa, Smith, Cantlay is a pretty sick, pretty sick little Frankenstein.
Last question in the chat. Which clutch gene would you want for this Frankenstein?
How far back can we go? Can I steal Tigers?
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to think about, because you can try and measure that, right? About performance under pressure and stuff like that. I'll just try and think anecdotally who do you trust the most to close when they're in contention of the current players?
Probably JT.
Yeah.
JT's kind of a killer.
Yeah. I was going to say Morikawa.
Morikawa's good.
Yeah. I'm cool with either.
Well, we don't have JT yet, so we'll go clutch gene JT.
Okay. I like that. I like that a lot.
We also get bones on the bag with that. We're rocking and rolling. All right, Andy. Always a blast. I think that'll do it for our Friday Scramble.
Yeah, man. Absolutely. I'm excited for the weekend. Safe travels for you this afternoon heading over to California. And we will be back on. Are we going to do a bracket thing on Tuesday? Should we do a bracket show or something like that?
Yeah, we're going to get creative. Yeah. So we've got another quick turnaround, but the match play and the bracket and all the possible scenarios that's my favorite. It's my favorite week of the year. So yeah, we'll do something.
What do you think? Is PrizePicks going to do some stuff for us? They'll figure it out.
Yeah, I wonder if it'll be holes 1 or I guess they could do a lot of different stuff. I'd have to think about that.
Yeah.
Matches 1, but that would be over multiple rounds. I guess they could do holes 1.
Total points in the group stage they could probably do, right?
Yeah.
Because remember, it's World Cup style.
Right. Everybody plays 3 and then
move round robin. Yeah.
All right. PrizePicks, the code you're looking for, Rick. And there is the link in the description. Sign up and join us on this quest to eventually bankrupt them. But for now, let me thank producer Mina doing all the hard work behind the scenes. That's Andy Lack. You can find on Twitter at ADP Lack Sports. And you can find me at RickRunGood. This has been your Friday Scramble. and we'll catch you next time.